back to Alternative. This is your conspiratorial host, Felipe. Conspiratorial, but it's still truth-seeking. So, okay, we have a very, very exciting episode today. If you have been following the news, there has been this unbelievable amount of news that has been happening regarding possible extraterrestrial intelligence being accepted into our mainstream media. Now, all of this first started out with a very strange comet called Oumuamua, which was the first interstellar object to ever enter our solar system. But aside from that, it was also one of the fastest objects, not just one of the fastest objects. This object slingshotted around the sun, and it basically it baffled all the astronomers and all the scientists because, it baffled them for various reasons. One of them, it had this exceptional elongated shape. I believe out of the 750,000 asteroids and comets that have been imaged in our solar system, there's not a single comet or asteroid that has a dimension that is more than 1-to-3 ratio. However, this Oumuamua object, it has a ratio of almost 10 to 1, where it's about 40 meters wide and 400 meters long. Now, this was very strange for scientists because anything hurtling in that type of speed, you think that the structural integrity would be compromised and that such objects would not be able to exist unless they're extremely hard in like some kind of alloy. So there was a program that was financed by a Russian billionaire, and basically the Breakthrough Listen project, they were trying to listen to see if there was any radio signals coming out of Oumuamua. And sadly, they didn't find anything that was interesting or substantial in terms of radio signals. However, you have to realize that this doesn't really mean much because any type of possible higher technology may be utilizing a different type of medium to communicate. But what was absolutely startling to me was just yesterday when I was listening to CNN, I saw a Pentagon insider by the name of Luis Elizondo, and he was basically stating that this Oumuamua object, or kind of implying that this object might actually be an extraterrestrial craft. Here, take a look.
Recently, I guess it was in October, astronomers spotted what they say could be the first interstellar asteroid. You see it there, kind of that strange shape from beyond the solar system. What do you see when you look at that?
Well, you know, Ms. Burnett, I have to admit to you, when I ran this program, I was fundamentally looking at, my colleagues looking at two things.
Yeah.
What is it and how does it work? We have deliberately stayed away from going down the rabbit hole of who's behind the wheel and what are their intentions.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have a lot of feelings towards that and are very emotional about that. And what I wanted to do is to allow the data to speak for itself and then use that data to inform leadership, senior DoD leadership, about the potential threat that these type of technologies pose to national security, especially over any type of controlled airspace that we might have.
Look, and I know you think it's important. I know you think that the government didn't take the threat seriously enough. So let me just ask you point blank the question. Do you believe that life from somewhere else, while you ran this program, came here, visited, observed?
I will tell you unequivocally that through the observation, scientific methodologies that were applied to look at this phenomena, that these aircraft, we'll call them aircraft, are displaying characteristics that are not currently within the U.S. inventory nor in any foreign inventory that we are aware of.
So I know you're being clear, but I mean, the answer is yes.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
So who exactly is this Pentagon insider, Luis Elizondo? Well, he happens to be working for the new Tom DeLonge company called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. Now, if you have been following the news, outside of this asteroid, Tom DeLonge, the lead singer of Blink-182, who also won UFO Researcher of the Year, well, he has been making some extravagant claims regarding aerial threats and him having basically Pentagon insiders.
And he looks me in the eye and says it was the Cold War and we found a life form. And that's when I started shitting my pants because I know a lot about this stuff, but you always wait to talk to somebody that is one of the inside people. You always want.
And he's been going on different shows, including the Joe Rogan show, and basically has been stating his case that not are UFOs just real, but they're also a threat to our society, and that he has high-ranking government officials to support him in a form of disclosure. So as you can imagine, you can see why a lot of UFO channels became very skeptic, because, I mean, for decades and decades and decades, the ufology has been fighting to have a disclosure, and out of nowhere, a rock star, a lead singer is just able to get all these Pentagon insiders on his side to help disclose this information. And not just that, but have publications like the New York Times, who always ridicules the subject. I mean, I really think this is probably the very first time that New York Times has ever taken the subject of ufology serious. And it happened being spearheaded by a rock star. So yeah, it's crazy. It seems like there's a lot of disinformation going here or coming in and out. But one thing that I do believe, that what they're saying is legitimately what they think. I really believe that they believe that there's UFOs out there. I really believe they encountered them while working. And now they're using Tom DeLonge as a form or as somebody to help disclose this information, because possibly DeLonge might have had a certain interest and understanding of the subject, but also drew a certain public relations that could essentially help this information flow easier to the public.
Why? What is it about what your message was?
Because
what your idea was that made them want to tell you some top secret shit that they've tried to keep away from the American people. I mean, you take a guy who's like a big celebrity who's in a huge rock band like you, and you just say, "Hey, meet me in an airport. I'm going to tell you about a life form that we found during the Cold War," because you're famous or because you know things?
No, because I have a service. So it's not. It sounds easy when you play it like that, but
service.
A service. Like, what can you do for them that they need help with?
And what could you do?
Communication.
But there's something really strange here. Why would Dr. Greer, the pioneer of the Disclosure Project, tweet this? And to follow that up, why would Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, I mean, he is like Mr. Secret, you know, he is the Robin Hood for the people who have been fighting for the truth. Why is he so skeptical of this New York Times story? Now, what we do know for certain is that in February 4th, 2017, this channel published an episode about a gentleman who had access to the compartmentalized departments of the NRO. His name is Christopher Mellon. And we were basically highlighting this interview that he had on the Huffington Post. And I just thought that this was such an interesting interview by such a high-ranking official. But you can imagine our complete surprise when Second Earth discovered that this gentleman is actually part of DeLonge's team. He's actually part of this corporation that they've created, the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences. So if I'm highlighting him, obviously I believe he is saying something truthful. And so to me, it's a form of verification that what Tom DeLonge is doing might be legitimate. Now here's the thing, the question is not whether the UFOs are real or not. The question is not whether Tom DeLonge is being truthful or not. The real question is Tom DeLonge being played? And you can imagine, I mean, you have to excuse my skepticism. It comes from this unrelenting amount of disinformation that the entire ufology circles have had to deal with. I mean, the amount of laughter.
No one's coming near me, extraterrestrials or Winter Park residents.
Yeah. It's like, who's the crazy guy on the side of the road with that tinfoil hat?
Imagine that.
Ridicule. The amount of bad scientific assumptions and extrapolations that have been pinned upon us. It's been an uphill battle. It's been extremely frustrating. And so yes, we do have our eyes a little careful. I mean, I don't want to say like I'm paranoid or anything, but sorry, but no. What I'm trying to explain is that we're careful we have to be careful. We're meticulous because we had to figure out things that the scientific circles and the governments were not willing to share with us. So, in conclusion, I wanted to let you guys off with this one idea. Could it be that the New York Times is preparing us for a false flag alien invasion operation? Now, I actually talked to my friends about a month and a half ago in this house party, and I told everybody, I said, look guys, if the government suddenly, in the next couple months, releases this information regarding UFOs, please be careful. If you see an alien invasion that suddenly happens in the White House, do not believe it at first. And I said this for good reasons, because of good research, because of individuals who I trusted, who have been researching this topic and have been coming out with this horrifying conclusion, albeit very possible, that the government, just like 9/11, just like Pearl Harbor, just like any other false flag operation that's happened in history, like the burning of the Reich Tower in World War II, this is not off human behavior. And given that they've been lying to us for so long, I really believe that it's very possible that this New York Times article is kind of a preemptive attack for a bigger false flag operation to essentially mentally prepare us, to mentally prepare that UFOs could exist. Because let me tell you something, the timing of Oumuamua, what I found so amazing about Oumuamua was this absolutely improbable math that was associated with. Not was it 1 out of 700,000 objects in terms of shape, it was also the fastest objects to ever come, and the way that it skimmed past Mercury. It was like hitting a bullseye the size of a nickel from 75 miles away. So that math just doesn't make sense for it to just be natural, for all those coincidences to just naturally fall into place. And then so outside of this improbable math, now we have this other coincidence that just a week after this thing comes whirling through our solar system, the New York Times, the biggest publication in the world, announces seriously, citing Pentagon officials, the UFOs may be real.
We may not be alone.
If this is not a red flag, if this is not a warning for you guys, I don't know how else to try to prepare you guys for what could be coming. So hopefully it's not what we think it is. Hopefully it's just a coincidence, and this is the beginning of a soft disclosure. But having gone through this, long enough, I have to be careful. So I never really talked about this, but I decided very early on that I wouldn't advertise on my channel, mostly for you guys' viewing pleasure. So everything that I've ever done to this point has been done basically for free, just as a passion. But if you guys do want to support this channel, one way you can do is by using one of the links in the bottom, one of the Amazon affiliate links, to basically make your everyday purchase, whether it's a Christmas purchase or just anything that you like. If you use this link, you will be helping me out, and it won't cost you guys any more than if you were to go to Amazon anyways. Well, once again, thanks for joining me, guys. This is Felipe Osorio, signing out.